Isn't that
I
nice?
remember saying that.
Yes.
I liked school, and my favourite subject was arithmetic. I wasn't very good at spelling, but after a while, when I started to read more, I learned how to spell better. And I still read a lot.
So this is your wee book.
Wasn't that lovely? She was a music teacher, Mrs. Brown, and I loved her. And she used to come in like this.
The school bags were a waste of time. Most of the books were always kept in school, and they were just took out for when your classes was on. You usually brought your pencil. I did have a pencil case. It was just a wooden one with the lid slid over the top of it. But usually there was only a couple of pencils and maybe a marker in it.
I loved music and I loved singing. I loved learning new words of songs. And I was in the choir. At Shore Road, sort of went to church there and I sang in the choir.
Oh God, the work was the most important. You must have all that done, and she inspected it, though she didn't know what she was inspecting, before that you could do anything, even read a woman's own.
My father was giving me away, of course. I don't know whether he was glad to get rid of me, but he seemed to be in a hurry to get me out of the house. He didn't want to be late. And here's me, oh no, the bride has to be late for her wedding. You don't have to be there first. So there I was waiting, made him sit down and wait until it was practically near time to go to the church. He seemed to be in an awful hurry.
Well, he worked in the Belfast Telegraph, jobbing dispatch. And then at the weekends, he worked down in the pub at the bottom of Gray's Lane. And he enjoyed that.
My mother worked in Gallagher's. She worked in the Waveney Laundry when, during the war, they had to launder the American soldiers. Then when the soldiers came down, they gave them, the girls that were working, they gave them, their sweets and chocolate and things like that.
Oh, we always had dogs. And usually a cat as well. My father hunted, you see, so he usually had a dog. And it was usually a Cocker Spaniel.
He had lots of friends who came to the pub. He'd invite them all up to the house. Come up, sure, I'd get you a drink in the house. And that would be, then there'd be about, there'd be about 15 people in for a drink. And not a big house either.
My granda, he was a fisherman. They always run to my granda, the whole lot of us, because he was at good days. And anything went wrong, we went to their granda. Oh, I have good memories with my granda. Oh, he was great. He used to take us in the boat sometimes, and they took us away on the boat and then brought us home again.
I went to America and I went to Australia. We went to Long Island. She lived in Long Island. Well, my sister, they both went to Australia. One was married she had 2 children here, so all 4 of them went to Australia, and she had 2 more young lads. She had 4 boys altogether, and the 2 youngest were born in Australia. And when she was out there, the second oldest one, she went out after Margaret was there.
Went to Malawi, a bit of work experience, that type of thing. There was different things you could do, different places you could go to. And I think maybe it was all owned by this one charity. You could go there and do this, and you could go there and do that. And it was great, I really, really enjoyed it. And I was there probably for about, a couple of months anyway, maybe, Well, I had a great time too.
Randall and I, we went to America. We went first of all up round the North Pole, up that side of America. And then we came down at the other side. We went for 6 months.
Went to Jersey. We started going and looking for jobs in hotels. We liked the tomato picking. We never really sold it or anything. We just took it home with us and ate it.
There was no bath in the house. So you had your wash in the scullery, or if you were having a full wash, it would have been done in the wee room our sitting room. Was like a wee back room beside the kitchen. So you went into the back bedroom and you had a good wash all over. It was usually a tin bath. The tin bath was usually washed, usually sat in 2 chairs for the washing, so it was usually filled up with warm water and you got washed out of the bath.
I lived in Killiney, and my mother looked after, she was the caretaker of the school. And and I would have stayed on late and dusted and all for her. And then I came home and because I was in the house and my sister, she worked in Ballymena, and there was just the 3 of us, and I had to get the dinner ready for them coming home.
I was never an ironer, so actually the iron was practically never taken out of. It was a part of a wedding present, and of course it was still in the box for years after the wedding.
They had, you know, the big pots you had years and years ago. Loads and loads of soup in it. It started on Saturday, yes, and it was always done. And then you weren't allowed to touch it until Sunday. Well, my daddy would have brought them all up from the pub. They'd have been all in the house, and then the next minute, if you made that soup again this week, that's lovely soup. Why didn't you give us a wee bowl of it?
I love them.
The music you were listening to today?
That was beautiful. It's meant to hear them. I loved it. I love dancing. I used to dance in Portaferry, Ballywalter. That's where I used to when I was young. That's where I went to.
When I went out to, my first school I got was a wee place, Longstone. And I got it funny, you know, you talk about, I was going into a shop, you know, in Ballymena, and I'd been in it. It was a shop that sold like scarves and wee knickknacks like that, and sometimes it was just hooking around. It's pastime. Sometimes I went in to see if there were any bargains. But then the man who was in it got to know me, and we were then, of course, I had to have a chat with him. And he told me about this wee school, and his mother was leaving it in June. He said, you know, you should try and make a way and get out, and you never know, you might get it. So I talked to the headmaster, and then he said, well, I'll have to make an appointment. And I think I was the only one that applied for it. But I had to, you see, I had to get the bus from where I lived into Ballymena, and then the bus from Ballymena to a Hawkle. And then I got that, took my bicycle for a Hawkle and rode 2 miles to the school. Oh, every winter it seemed there was big snow and frost, and I had to walk it.
I worked in Marie's tobacco factory, and I worked in the cut roll department. The tobacco we worked with went to coal mines because miners weren't allowed to smoke, of course, down in the mines. So they was usually just chewing tobacco. I was one of the girls that cut it into pieces, weighed it, and then wrapped it up and put the name of the tobacco on it, and then it went out to get sold.
My first school was a wee country school out near Portlanone. I left home on my bicycle and rode into Ballymena at 7:30 in the morning to get the bus out to school. And then in the afternoon I had to wait till 3 o'clock, even though I was finished at 2, and the headmaster said if I wanted I could go at 2. Some mornings when I was coming down, like one of the farmers would pass me in the tractor, and they'd say, do you want a lift, Mrs. Small? And I'd say, yes I do. And I would stand on the back of the tractor and he would take me down to school. Saved the money, because when you're newly married, every penny's a prisoner.
And my husband was very good. He was a painter and decorator. When he went out to do work, part of his work was he would have started off with making sure everything was really clean before you put your undercoat on, and then you finished it off. So I'm afraid I was ruined because my husband was very, very good. He wouldn't have done all the cleaning, but he would have done the majority of it.
We had a wee savings group, and then every Monday we lifted the savings from the children, and then I took it into the post office, and he was working in the post office. I always waited and went to a boy that had been at school with me, and we had a yarn, you know, and all. And then he said to me, "Do you see the man that's at the counter 2 down?" I says, "No, I can't, for you're blocking my view." He says he would like to take you to the picture some night. And I said, "No, I wouldn't go with a strange man to the picture house, it's too dark." And he says, "Well, what about me going too?" I says, "2 men, one on each side of me." He says, "Aye, sure, that's all right." So we did that. And then he went out and left me. So that's how I met Randall.
Yeah, and I've left you a wee message on this one so you know what to do when you have it. You listen to it.